There is a secret no storm can steal from you, a key no circumstance can lock away, and a power no enemy can silence. It is your voice. The way you speak to yourself is not merely habit, it is prophecy. You are not talking about your life, you are talking it into existence. Every word you whisper about yourself becomes a silent architect, designing tomorrow without your permission or approval. And here is the truth most people never hear: life does not respond to your hopes. Life responds to your words. If you call yourself weak, the world will offer resistance. If you call yourself blessed, the world will arrange opportunity. If you call yourself forgotten, life will echo emptiness. But if you dare to say, I am guided, I am favored, I am provided for, I am protected, then existence must, by law older than time, begin to restructure itself to prove you right. Stop speaking like a victim rehearsing a tragic script and start declaring like a ruler issuing commands. Your past does not have authority, your fear does not hold the microphone, your limitations are not the narrator of your story. You are. Speak to yourself like destiny is listening, because it is. Do not say, I will be happy when. Say, I am thankful now. Do not say, I'll believe it when I see it. Say, I see it because I believe it. Do not say, I hope things work out. Say, everything moves in my favor. Words spoken with certainty summon invisible assistance. You may not see it, but when you declare alignment, unseen hands rearrange details you never even touched, delays collapse, confusion clears, right people rise, right answers appear. The supply you struggled for suddenly finds you effortlessly. Not because you deserve it, but because you declared it. You see, heaven does not respond to begging. It responds to agreement. When your voice agrees with truth, truth is activated in your life. The words you speak about yourself are not harmless background noise in your mind. They are living orders issued into the unseen realm, shaping tomorrow before it ever arrives. Every sentence you repeat about your life becomes a design written across the future. Your inner voice is not passive, it is an active force. It does not simply observe your world, it constructs it. Long before results appear, your speech has already decided what form they will take. This is why two people can walk through the same storm and emerge with completely different outcomes. One spoke defeat into the winds. The other spoke victory into the unseen, and the unseen listened. Most people believe circumstances create speech, but in truth, speech creates circumstances. You do not speak because life happens because you speak. The unseen does not respond to logic, history, or fear. It responds to declaration. It does not weigh whether your words are reasonable, it checks only whether they are spoken. When you repeatedly say you are unlucky, life aligns with that confession. When you persist in saying you are guided, protected, and favored, paths form where none existed. The world responds less to effort and more to expectation dressed in language. Your voice is like a painter's brush across the canvas of destiny. Each word leaves a stroke. Speak in dark colors and your future dims. Speak in light and your path brightens. Nothing in your life is neutral, even silence carries instruction. The universe reads your language fluently, especially the quiet sentences you never say aloud, but repeat daily in your heart. Those hidden phrases write more powerfully than any speech made in public. When you say, I can't, you do not describe weakness, you authorize it. When you say, it never works for me, you are not stating evidence. You are signing a contract. Every repeated phrase is an agreement you unknowingly make with your environment, compelling it to obey. And it always does. Law does not argue, it fulfills. This is why casual negativity is never casual. A single sentence spoken in frustration can echo for months. What you call just venting may be constructing a structure you will later have to live inside. But equally, one firm declaration spoken in faith can undo a season of damage. One statement of truth, spoken with authority, can reverse long, standing patterns and unhook years of limitation. Your words weigh more than your worries and outlast your moods. Dreams fail not from lack of effort, but from language that contradicts them daily. How many people pray for abundance, yet speak scarcity all day? How many ask for peace while narrating chaos? The mouth builds or dismantles without pause. It is always working. There is no idle speech, no harmless phrase, no throwaway sentence. If you desire a new world, you must first speak a new one into being. Talk to yourself as though life is eavesdropping, because it is. Speak as if unseen forces are taking notes, because they are. What you repeatedly say, you will inevitably see. Speaking rightly is not pretending that struggle does not exist. It is refusing to grant struggle the final word. Many assume that changing their language means denying reality, but true power is not found in repeating what the eyes can see. It is found in declaring what the soul already knows. Your vision is shorter than truth. Your circumstances are temporary, but what you speak in faith is permanent. You do not ignore the mountain by refusing to name it. You move it by speaking to it. Words spoken from belief do not decorate difficulty. They command it. There is a world forming beyond your sight, affected daily by the sentences you choose. The moment you speak with certainty, unseen energies shift, even when the outer picture remains unchanged. That is where most people lose heart. They do not see instant proof, so they assume their words failed. But language does not change reality instantly. It begins rearranging it. Speaking is not the end of a process, it is the beginning of it. Your declaration is the spark that sends invisible messengers into motion long before visible signs appear. When you speak what you desire instead of what you dread, you are not lying. You are aligning. You are tuning your voice to a greater order, a higher pattern, a truth that already existed before your problem arrived. Difficulties do not cancel destiny, and fear does not cancel design. But careless language can delay both. Words spoken in agreement with limitation strengthen it. Words spoken in agreement with promise dissolve it. There is a sacred tension between what is and what will be, and your voice determines which one wins. If you narrate the struggle daily, you feed it energy. If you speak possibility, you starve the obstacle and nourish the outcome. What you name consistently, you nurture unconsciously. Language is not decoration, it is direction. People often say, "I'm just being realistic," without realizing realism is the favorite disguise of fear. Faith is not blind. It is visionary. It sees beyond the noise of circumstances into the quiet certainty of outcome. Speaking beyond sight is how pioneers are born. Every breakthrough first lived as a word before it stood as a structure. Every victory began as a confession before it became a fact. There is a moment when courage begins, and it is when you say what has not happened yet, as though it already belongs to you. That kind of speech feels rebellious at first, because it refuses to bow to the evidence of the present. But that rebellion is sacred. It bends the future toward promise. When you speak peace while chaos is shouting, you are not escaping reality. You are reshaping it. You are not required to shout. Authority does not need volume, it needs conviction. Even a whisper spoken in faith carries immense weight. The unseen world is not moved by eloquence, but by alignment. A few purposeful words spoken daily can outwork years of desperate effort. Speak well in the midst of chaos, not after it leaves. Speak life while the room still echoes with challenge. Speak joy while tears are fresh. Speak abundance while resources appear thin. The moment you harmonize your language with truth, reality begins to bravely catch up. Most people believe that if they plead long enough, cry hard enough, or explain deeply enough, something in the unseen will eventually feel sorry for them and send relief. But life is not moved by desperation, it is moved by direction. It does not respond to the volume of your need, but to the clarity of your alignment. When your inner world matches a higher order, assistance arrives without strain, and provision flows without pressure. Heaven is not persuaded by emotion. It is activated by agreement. There is a divine rhythm moving through existence, a quiet intelligence coordinating details beyond human reach. When your thoughts, words, and expectations fall into harmony with that rhythm, life begins to cooperate in ways you could never manage on your own. Doors that once resisted swing open without explanation. People suddenly become helpful without knowing why. Circumstances rearrange in your favor without announcement or warning. This is not luck, it is alignment made visible. You were never meant to chase blessings. You were meant to become the place where blessings arrive. Flowers do not beg the sun, they simply turn toward it, and growth becomes inevitable. In the same way, when you orient your inner world toward truth, opportunity turns toward you. You do not hustle the universe, you harmonize with it. Alignment is not effort, it is agreement. It is choosing to think in cooperation with divine intelligence instead of in conflict with it. When you stop talking about what you fear and begin affirming what is ordained, your internal weather clears. It is not that challenges vanish instantly, but their power to dominate dissolves. You are no longer fighting life, you are flowing with it. You may not see the current beneath the surface, but it is always there, pulling events together with remarkable precision. Alignment is placing your trust into that current instead of struggling against it. Desperation swims upstream, alignment lets itself be carried forward. One exhausts, the other empowers. When alignment replaces anxiety, strategy becomes unnecessary. You find yourself in the right place without planning it. You meet the right people without searching. You receive what you stopped grasping for. The more you release resistance, the more assistance becomes effortless. This is not coincidence. It is cooperation. People often worry they are not praying enough, not trying hard enough, not pushing deeply enough. But effort does not impress the unseen. Trust engages it. A calm expectation holds more power than frantic asking ever could. The calm voice carries authority because it speaks from certainty rather than from survival. You were not created to perform for the universe. You were designed to partner with it. Your task is not to convince existence. It already knows who you are. Your task is to agree with it. The moment your language and belief rise in harmony with divine order, you no longer feel alone. You feel guided. You feel supported. You feel led instead of chased by time. Alignment is the invisible handshake between your soul and destiny. When that handshake is firm, life responds accordingly. Gratitude is not politeness, it is power. It is not a reaction to blessing, it is the invitation for blessing to arrive. When you give thanks only after something appears, you are merely being respectful. But when you give thanks before anything changes, you are being magnetic. Gratitude spoken in advance sends a signal into the unseen that you are expecting delivery, not debating possibility. It is faith wrapped in joy, certainty dressed as appreciation. Most people wait for evidence before they offer thanks, but the heart that understands divine order thanks before proof ever appears. It thanks while the door is still closed. It thanks while the answer is still forming. It thanks while the path still looks uncertain. This kind of gratitude is dangerous to delay, fear, and limitation because it announces confidence long before circumstances agree. When you express gratitude for what you do not yet see, you collapse time. The future hears you and begins moving toward you. Appreciation creates acceleration. It is like signing your name on a contract you haven't yet seen but already trust. Your thankful voice moves faster than your waiting hands. Gratitude spoken aloud shifts the atmosphere immediately. Worry evaporates, tension weakens, fear loses its influence. The simple act of saying, "Thank you," for what you're believing for calms resistance and invites ease. It rearranges internal disorder and makes room for external order. In a space filled with gratitude, anxiety cannot breathe. Thankfulness changes you first, which is why it changes everything else so quickly. The moment appreciation fills your inner world, opportunity finds fertile ground. Your mindset longs no longer for rescue, it expects alignment. In that expectancy, miracles feel natural. Provision feels familiar. Relief arrives without struggle. There is a power hidden inside appreciation that no force can deny. It does not beg, it blesses. It does not convince, it confirms. When gratitude becomes your language, you stop pleading for life to treat you well and begin thanking life for what it is already arranging. You shift from hoping to knowing. Words of thanks are like open hands turned upward. They signal readiness. They announce confidence. They welcome flow. A thankful heart does not chase. It receives. It is not anxious about timing because it trusts precision. It is not shaken by delay because it knows preparation is underway. The universe is drawn to gratitude because gratitude recognizes good before it arrives. It honors the process while it is still invisible, and what you honor, you hasten. What you thank for, you attract. When gratitude becomes your daily language, you stop asking whether things will work out and start preparing for how they will unfold. You no longer count obstacles, you count blessings in advance. You no longer rehearse disaster, you rehearse delight. The thankful voice commands doors to open quietly and pathways to appear unexpected. What cannot be forced can be welcomed, and gratitude is the strongest invitation ever written. Here is the expanded version of point 4 in 500 words, with no subheading and no conclusion added. Gratitude is not politeness, it is power. It is not a reaction to blessing, it is the invitation for blessing to arrive. When you give thanks only after something appears, you are merely being respectful. But when you give thanks before anything changes, you are being magnetic. Gratitude spoken in advance sends a signal into the unseen that you are expecting delivery, not debating possibility. It is faith wrapped in joy, certainty dressed as appreciation. Most people wait for evidence before they offer thanks. But the heart that understands divine order thanks before proof ever appears. It thanks while the door is still closed. It thanks while the answer is still forming. It thanks while the path still looks uncertain. This kind of gratitude is dangerous to delay, fear, and limitation because it announces confidence long before circumstances agree. When you express gratitude for what you do not yet see, you collapse time. The future hears you and begins moving toward you. Appreciation creates acceleration. It is like signing your name on a contract you haven't yet seen but already trust. Your thankful voice moves faster than your waiting hands. Gratitude spoken aloud shifts the atmosphere immediately. Worry evaporates. Tension weakens. Fear loses its influence. The simple act of saying, "Thank you," for what you're believing for calms resistance and invites ease. It rearranges internal disorder and makes room for external order. In a space filled with gratitude, anxiety cannot breathe. Thankfulness changes you first, which is why it changes everything else so quickly. The moment appreciation fills your inner world, opportunity finds fertile ground. Your mindset longs no longer for rescue, it expects alignment. In that expectancy, miracles feel natural. Provision feels familiar. Relief arrives without struggle. There is a power hidden inside appreciation that no force can deny. It does not beg, it blesses. It does not convince, it confirms. When gratitude becomes your language, you stop pleading for life to treat you well and begin thanking life for what it is already arranging. You shift from hoping to knowing. Words of thanks are like open hands turned upward. They signal readiness. They announce confidence. They welcome flow. A thankful heart does not chase, it receives. It is not anxious about timing because it trusts precision. It is not shaken by delay because it knows preparation is underway. The universe is drawn to gratitude because gratitude recognizes good before it arrives. It honors the process while it is still invisible. And what you honor, you hasten. What you thank for, you attract. When gratitude becomes your daily language, you stop asking whether things will work out and start preparing for how they will unfold. You no longer count obstacles, you count blessings in advance. You no longer rehearse disaster, you rehearse delight. The thankful voice commands doors to open quietly and pathways to appear unexpected. What cannot be forced can be welcomed, and gratitude is the strongest invitation ever written. When your words change, your world must follow, because reality cannot resist a voice that consistently speaks a new direction. Life is obedient to language, not to wishes. It aligns itself with the tone of your declarations, not the depth of your longing. You may desire transformation, but until you begin to describe your life differently, tomorrow will resemble yesterday. Speech is the switch that turns possibility into movement. The moment you abandon old phrases, you abandon old paths. Most people attempt to change their environment without ever changing their vocabulary. They rearrange furniture in a house built from outdated thought and wonder why the structure still feels the same. But when language upgrades, life is forced to upgrade with it. New words invite new experiences. New declarations summon new conditions. What you say out loud becomes the blueprint that events must follow. Your voice announces to the unseen what you are willing to tolerate and what you are ready to receive. If you constantly verbalize limitation, you broadcast permission for limitation to stay. If you consistently declare expansion, you announce readiness for increase. The unseen does not need explanation. It needs direction. And your words give it that direction. Do not underestimate the quiet revolution that begins the moment your speech changes. The world may not shift overnight, but it shifts inevitably. Language is patient and persistent. A single seed sentence, planted daily, will eventually crack concrete circumstances. Consistent elevation in speech produces inevitable elevation in life. You may not control every event, but you control the meaning you assign, and the meaning shapes your behavior. The language of defeat produces actions of retreat. The language of confidence produces movement. The language of abundance produces expectation. The language of fear produces preservation. Your words train your nervous system to prepare for what you describe. Speak long enough about growth, and you will act in ways that create it. Speak insistently about success, and you will subconsciously take steps toward it. Speech programs direction into the body as much as into the environment. Old words produce old results. The phrases you learned in survival mode will not sustain you in seasons of expansion. If you continue to speak from who you were, you delay who you are becoming. There are sentences you must retire if you want to rise. There are descriptions that must be discarded to make room for destiny. The moment you change your language, you interrupt generational patterns. You break agreements you never consciously signed. Your new words do battle with old programming and eventually overpower it. The past speaks in habits, the future speaks through you. Life listens carefully to how you describe it. It fulfills description better than intention. It builds what you repeatedly articulate. It echoes what you affirm. It mirrors what you expect. So speak boldly even when the stage looks empty. Speak abundance even when numbers are small. Speak clarity even when the path is blurred. Speak strength even when energy is low. Speak as though your future is eavesdropping on your conversations, because it is. Language is not a reflection of life, it is its architect. So now you know the secret that changes everything. Your life is not shaped by chance, by people, or by the past. It is shaped by the words you choose today. You do not wait for the future to improve before you speak differently. You speak differently and the future improves in response. From this moment on, become deliberate with your language. Let your mouth become a doorway for blessing, a trumpet for truth, and a gateway for miracles. Speak as one who expects heaven to answer, because it does. Speak with certainty, walk with faith, and watch as unseen forces rush to meet the voice that finally learned how to command its destiny.